Saanen-Gstaad, one of the most beautiful regions of Switzerland, the paradise of stars. In 1989, Air-Glaciers established their base here. Since then, the company has become an indispensable partner in the region. Today, Tom, Isa, Ferdinand, Victor, and all the others who run the base will share some bits of their life with you.
At the moment, we are 9 employees, 1.5 secretaries, 2 licensed mechanics and 1.5 pilots, and 3 flight assistants. In the winter, we also have doctors and paramedics for the rescue operation.
The small team of Saanen embodies the rapid development of Air-Glaciers over the years, a development whose history begins in 1952. At that time, Hermann Geiger performed his first landings on glaciers at the Aero Club of Allet. He was not the first to do so, but he wanted to demonstrate the usefulness of such landings in the domains of transport and rescue. Aboard Piper Super Cub, both men replenished mountain huts and rescued dozens of wounded. In 1957, the first Bell 47J helicopter arrived at Sion, but given its poor performance, missions at over 2,500 metres were difficult to envisage. In 1959, the Pilatus Porter was delivered. This plane was essentially a flying lorry. It was able to take off in very short distances and to transport up to 1 ton of material. In 1963, Bruno Bagnou participated in a mountain guide course. One of his friends had an accident. Geiger could not land with the Bell. He promised himself he would find the means to buy an Alouette III with an overwhelming turbine of 550 horsepower. 2 years later, the money was eventually found and Air-Glaciers was officially founded in Sion in August 1965. Tourism was expanding rapidly in the valley. The helicopter was increasingly requested, so Air-Glaciers opened new bases. In 1971, Lauterbrunnen first hosted an Alouette III. 12 years later, Air-Glaciers opened a helipad in the Chablis at Colombay.
The basic idea of Saanen is almost as old as the foundation of Air-Glaciers. We must not forget that Saanen has the great advantage not only to be a heliport, there is also a runway that we could use for Pilatus Porter flights, either glacier or skydiving flights. That's what we couldn't do at our other bases in the Northern Alps, for example at Lauterbrunnen, where we had a space for a heliport only.
On n'a que la place pour un héliport.
Contractors call us every time they don't know how to deal with their transportations, but because the helicopter is cheaper and sometimes the only means of transport in inaccessible places,
c'est le seul moyen de faire des transports dans les endroits inaccessibles. Soit dans les villes, on fait pas mal dans les villes, soit
fly in cities to change broken crane engines, or maybe install air conditioning units or lifts.
C'est le seul moyen. Aussi en ville, on fait des air conditioning, des moteurs d'air conditioning, on change souvent des machines comme ça, ou pour les lifts.
Saanen Air Base still uses this helicopter for transportation, the Lama. This type of machine constitutes the vast majority of the fleet of Air-Glaciers. It has an unmatched reserve of power. It is able to climb to more than 12,000 metres. The Lama remains the favourite helicopter of mountain pilots, amongst other things for its exceptional visibility and manoeuvrability.
Dans le vent, avec la queue qui n'est pas enveloppée.
In the wind, the tail is wrapped, the wind crosses the tail, so it's much less sensitive to wind, and in high altitudes from, say, 2,500 metres, the Lama is more superior to the Squirrel, regardless of the problem with loads.
Supérieur à l'écureuil, même point de vue de charge.
Glacier 3000 was one of the major jobs of the base. During its construction, the helicopter was heavily utilised. To supply water to the snow cannons of the ski resort, it was necessary to drill a tunnel from the Saanen-Gstaad dam and create a network of pipes.
Yes, it was quite interesting. We flew many hours. I can't say exactly how many. It was quite interesting because the terrain was extremely steep. We had to fix pipes to the rocks. It was a nice job with mountain guides attached to ropes. We had to lift the pipes directly to the rocks. It was really quite interesting.
Dans les falaises, nous on est venu avec les tuyaux, on les a fixés directement. Alors ça c'était assez marrant.
Transporting concrete or pipes is the daily lot in Saanen, but the crews may have to fly more original loads. For instance, artworks valued at tens of thousands of francs, and many other things.
Des fois c'est assez impressionnant ce qu'ils mettent dans leur chalet.
Sometimes it's amazing to see what we put into their chalets. Sometimes we put treasures into their homes, into the roofs. They had to open the roof because they had no other way to put the treasure into the house. Yes, sometimes there are special things that happen here.
Le trésor dans la maison. Il y a pas mal de choses qui se passent là.
We are in Allet. The Lama of Saanen base is performing maiden flights. Passenger flights represent about 20% of their operations. The customers are often important people.
Avec les gens riches ici, c'est la discrétion, c'est le plus important.
With rich people here, there is a rule of discretion. It's important because they don't want anyone to know if they come or if they don't. So we don't advertise in the newspapers when famous people come. There are people who work in Formula One, in sailboats, or famous singers.
Dans les voiliers, dans les chanteurs.
During the winter, the base uses this helicopter, the Squirrel. It is faster and more comfortable than the Lama, and it offers an appropriate response to the requirements of wealthy customers.
Aujourd'hui, les gens.
We see that it is not very comfortable nowadays when they arrive in their fur coats. They don't want to enter the Lama. This time is over.
Les Lama, c'est fini.
In winter, the roads can be quite bad. The helicopter is often an easier and faster means of transport for the people of Gstaad. Equipping a machine for VIP flights in summer, though, doesn't seem too important to me at the moment.
Je dis bien, pas trop important.
Among the activities of the base, there is also the heli-skiing. It must be said that the Saanen is privileged because of the various landing possibilities which exist in the region. But the base also drops skiers elsewhere.
We often fly to the Valais, Trion, Grand Combin, Arola, wherever we can. Test Air-Glacier, Zermatt in fact, everywhere customers want to go. We also fly to Courchevel, Val d'Isère.
On va aussi souvent à Courchevel, Val d'Isère.
The anecdotes abound. Sometimes a forgetful customer is in a predicament, and it is a battle to help him.
Des fois, ils sont tellement excités.
Sometimes they're so excited they forget to put on their ski boots. They are in the snow in their normal shoes. Then we have to fly back to get the ski boots.
Il faut leur rapporter de nouveau les chaussures de ski. Des fois, ils rouspètent encore quand ils...
Sometimes they moan when they have to pay extra for the flight.
We are at Taig. Today the men of Saanen train on the cable car that leads to Saanich. Every year the base carries 120 to 150 rescues, even in the valley.
On va aider aussi souvent Sion, parce qu'ils ont beaucoup à faire. Les accidents.
Accidents always happen at the same time. Around noon, when everyone is busy, we often fly for the Rega.
Aussi souvent pour la Rega.
Dans ce secteur qui est beaucoup développé.
Yes, in this area, where there's lots of skiing and other sports, demand is sometimes too great for one company to meet. At these times, Rega delegates rescues to us.
Et à ce moment-là, la Rega nous délègue certains sauvetages que nous faisons pour eux.
On va aussi dans les grands hôpitaux.
We also fly to large hospitals such as Bern, Lausanne or Geneva, or Zurich for transports from Saanen when the case is serious. We also fly for customers who want to go to a private clinic, anywhere in Switzerland.
Ou aussi avec des clients qui veulent aller dans une clinique privée n'importe où en Suisse.
During the summer the rescues are vastly different. The helicopter has to recover over 100 cows which are dead or injured.
Il faut un peu de tout.
That makes the job interesting. Working with farmers, working with VIPs, the spectrum is really quite large.
Alors le spectrum est assez grand.
People appreciate the tranquility of Saanen-Gstaad. Air-Glaciers avoids flying over the villages unnecessarily. The rules are strict.
Nous, on se tient aux règles.
We respect the rules because we know that people are very sensitive. There are other companies who do not know them. They fly over the villages and they make people think that nasty Air-Glaciers making the noise.
De temps en temps, pour aller chercher une personne gravement malade.
From time, to get a seriously ill person, we have to land as near as possible. But it is extremely rare, and I think that having a little discipline when flying and eliminating most of these cases gives us valid reason to pick people in a village.
Je pense qu'on trouve une raison valable pour aller chercher les gens dans un village.
Since 1989, the mechanics have had to do their job in these old hangars. They are relics from the days when Saanen was a military airfield. The work is not always easy, with the temperature changes and the increasingly demanding legal requirements. But things could change for these people who are behind the scenes.
Nous pensons très rapidement.
We think we'll try to build a new hangar very quickly, not in 10 years, but within 2 or 3. This will enable us to work in a much more efficient manner.
À l'abri d'une façon absolument correcte.
Meanwhile, the Saanen team will continue to work to provide rescue and transport. Their job is unusual, and they have chosen it because they are passionate about it.